you guys are at such a critical juncture where every decision you take, it impacts really fast. How do you manage that? How do you train the teams on the ground for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, first, I think it goes back to our first value, right? So people first, all
People,
the decisions that we're making are with the people in that are our team members, but also the people on site, right? So we are making these decisions for some reason. I think one of the biggest things with change, right? We call them change champions. Can you champion the change that you are rolling out? And you have to understand the why. I think some leaders roll things out and they're just like, this is what we're doing because as a company, this is we're making the decision, you need to do it now. And I think we're missing the point of like explaining the why. And I think even with our prospects and our residents, you can explain the why. They're so smart and knowledgeable now about like business with AI and everything, right? They look up everything. So it's like meet them where they are and be transparent about why you're doing what you're doing, from a policy standpoint to making changes on site to at least, I mean, with all the expectations, I think so long as you are transparent and you're explaining the why well, it should make sense.
and I think this is exactly going into the whole ideology of how to engage students today when everything is distracting, right? The attention span, I know it's cliche and it's cheesy, but the attention span is very less. I mean, you are fighting for every time you're probably explaining about the brand, or you are advertising, or you're even creating an initiative. The pressure to be different is very high these days, right? And I think Gen Z, in a lot of respect, has raised that standard that you cannot have just a pizza night and call it engagement, right? You cannot just have certain goodies distributed across the hall and say that, oh, we did that on Easter. So when that kind of challenge comes across, how do you think the community managers, how do you think the building managers are tackling this? How are they, what are some of the interesting initiatives they're coming across so that, hey, we are not doing it for the heck of it. We are really doing it because BHOM, people first service is what we believe in. And this is how we are trying to design everything. Can you throw some light on
Yeah.
that? How do you guys managing that?
Yeah, I think it's a trickle down, right? We can't roll something out that we don't believe in, which means we also need to be present. So, talking about our general managers on site, we don't want them to just set pizza out in the hallway and then go back into their office, right? Because that's the opposite of really creating this brand and having face forward. So, we want them to be out there and engaging with the residents. We should be using these times as a way to have conversations with them and get to know them and maybe not have it be so business-like and more so an authentic connection that they're making. I remember we have a property in Eugene called the Hayward, and we were up there visiting. And they got a new leasing manager and AGM, and Brandon, he's been the GM there for some time. And I remember sitting there and everybody was bringing their dogs in. And the first place that they would come in every time is they would walk directly to the AGM's office. The AGM would knew the dog's name and the resident's name, gave the dog a treat, and then they would leave. And it was just like over and over again. And I was just like, this is so impressive that this person knows every single person's name. I was just like so impressed. They are currently 85% ahead where they were last year pre-lease. They are almost 100% in Eugene. It's almost 800 leases ahead. And I don't think that the connections that that team is making is a coincidence, right? Like it's all connected. I think them having those real relationships with these residents is what has push them to be higher than they've ever been previously because of those new relationships that they're building. So I think it's all connected, right? All of this is connected. What is your reputation score? How good are your Google reviews? Are people attending your events? Are people taking care of their apartments? It all connects to like, do they care about the people in the office? They're more likely to take care of their apartment and pay their rent on time and attend your events and leave you a positive review if they know your name and they have some familiarity with you. I think, again, it's all connected.
And I think part of the reason a lot of the times you hear these stories where your particular property or property managers or regions are suddenly ahead where they were last year. It's almost never just the technology. It is almost never, I say, but a lot of the times it boils down to the basics when we talk about engaging with the students at the right time. It's about managing their issues at the right time, also kind of looking at things slightly differently than just a transaction of leases.